Back with us on the SportsMax Zone, we continue with cricket. The fourth and final test between hosts India and England at the Narendra Modi Stadium in Ahmedabad is set to start Wednesday night Caribbean time, with the action live on SportsMax from 11 p.m. in Jamaica, midnight in the Eastern Caribbean. India hold a 2-1 series lead and need only to avoid defeat to qualify for the final of the World Test Championship at Lord's in June. The team's vice captain, Ajinkya Rahane, says the players are not focused on that Test Championship showdown with New Zealand.
Similar to third test match, and also I feel the second test match what we played in Chennai, wicket will be similar. It will be a spinning track, and yes, pink ball made that difference. I think pink ball was coming much quicker off the wicket comparatively to red ball. That's the adjustment we had to make, but as I said, wicket will be a lot similar to last two test matches.
Yeah. That's Ajinkya Rahane. News editor at ESPN Quick Info, Nagraj Gollapaudi, joins us to preview the fourth test. Nagraj, welcome back to SportsMax. It's been a while since we last saw you, man.
Yeah, you can see the hair has grown a lot.
Yes, and a lot more salt in the hair as well.
Yes.
I guess the perfect place to start, Nagraj, is this. According to the English perspective, the pitch in the last test was the most important thing. So I'm asking a question on behalf of England. What is the state of the pitch at the Narendra Modi Stadium? Is it the same strip that they used for the third test that they're going to use for the fourth test?
No, they won't. They can't use the same strip. They will use the same square, of course, and there are about 6 red soil wickets, which is what there's a lot of bounce and spin on the red soil wickets, and that's what was played on the third test. And the fourth test also will be played on most likely on a red soil pitch, as Ajinkya Rahane, the Indian vice captain, said earlier today. The pitch will obviously take a turn. It will be a dry turner, and I expect the match to be over in about 4 days' time if England actually bat well. Not that India has been really good at spin too. So yeah, about 4 days I would give for this match.
Viewers this side of the world, Nagraj, believe that India picked a better team than England for the second test, and certainly picked a better team than England for the third test. Any insight in terms of player selection for this fourth test? Anybody who's coming into the 11 who will make way for India and then for England, if you have that information as well?
Yeah, I don't know about England, because I would have to guess that they would need to play, because it's now that India have shown the hand and said that they're going to play on a spin pitch. England will try and rectify the selection errors they made in the third test, and they would play another spinner in Dom Bess. Most likely it will have to be Dom Bess. So as far as India is concerned, I would think there's one replacement is going to be Umesh Yadav, the fast bowler, who is likely to replace Jasprit Bumrah, who has taken leave for personal reasons. And I would expect them to play 3 spinners. And moral, I think it should be the same. Otherwise, that's the only change for India I would expect.
Yeah. Nagraj, there's been some talk coming out of the England camp that they need to move past the complaining of the conditions in the third test and focus on the fourth test, because they still have a series that they can draw. How difficult would that be, and how mentally tough is this English team in getting that done?
I think if you see that England are coming from Sri Lanka and they won the series there on spinning pitches, so that will give them the confidence. If they can realign their focus to what happened before this third test, which actually the England players were not talking that much. It's the media it's media on both fronts that has been talking a lot about the pitch and the match getting over, the shock of the match getting over in 2 days, which is a historical and a rare feat. So England do have the capability of surviving and playing on the spin pitches, but it's the inexperience, I feel, and the selections, the headaches that they have because of the rotation policy that they have deployed, keeping in mind the challenges of living in a biosecure environment entails.
Yeah. How much has the non-firing, Nagraj, of Ben Stokes been affecting the England's effort here? Because he started the series as the world's #1 all-rounder in Test cricket. He has lost that position now to the West Indian Jason Holder. How much is England being hurt by the match-winning Ben Stokes not firing?
Yeah, I like that. He's lost the spot to Jason Holder. Remember, it was last July when it was the same talk. It was Holder and Stokes when the West Indies teams came here and the media was talking about that. Yeah, I don't think Ben will lose sleep about Stokes will lose sleep over losing that spot, but he would be worried about not making any impact whatsoever on this series. In 3 test matches he's played, I think he's just got 150 possibly, and that's it. And more or less, Ashwin has kind of played him just on the strings, and Stokes has kind of just shown no kind of dominance against the spin bowling. So Stokes has a point to prove, and he would want to kind of leave the series, even if whatever the result, he would want to kind of leave a footprint saying that I am still dominating kind of a batsman, especially England need Stokes to bat well and bat long. Especially Joe Root needs that because he's the only guy who's shown any kind of, patience and skills to survive for longer.
Yeah. Nagra, I'm keen to ask, what is the popular view from where you are about the quality of this England batting lineup beyond Joe Root? Of course, you just spoke about Ben Stokes. We know his abilities. But what's the verdict on the quality of this England team as a batting unit beyond their captain?
I think that it's promising, but it's the selectors who have decided that they need to rotate players. If ideally you would want a Joss Butler kind of a player to stay back and play for longer and play every match, possibly. I think if Butler was there in the third match, the result could have been different because England were in a good state actually in the first innings, and a total of around anything close to 200 would have been very challenging for India. Because mind you that, as you would recollect, that India lost 6 wickets equally in their first innings for just about 20 odd runs. So I feel personally that without Butler, this team is slightly weaker in their batting lineup in the lower order. Right now, Johnny Bairstow is there. He's struggling. He's actually played as number 3, but he didn't do much. If you look at the other players, it's inexperience. So if you remove Root and you remove Stokes, then you're left with Sibley, Lawrence, Crawley, all people who are starting their careers. So you can't say much about them. They've just played not even a handful number of tests in the subcontinent.
Yeah, finally, Nagra, the Indian boys won't say it, but we can. Isn't it true that the prospect of playing in a World Test Championship final against New Zealand at Lord's is a massive prospect, and India want to get there, and they want to get there, and they want to win it. So none of us should be fooled thinking that it's just, if it happens great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. That they want to get there.
Yeah, the intent has been always there right from that first match. In fact, I think if I'm not mistaken, India played their first series of the World Test Championship in the Caribbean.
Yes.
In 2019, which they won 2-0, if I'm not wrong. And so India has been the only team, along with England, which have played the 6 series signed 6 series in the World Test Championship, and they've played home and away. So they've played on different conditions and they've won. And they have never complained about the conditions. What they have done is, luckily for them, this series is given. Like if you remove the first test, if they wanted to make a spin track on the first test, the series would have been won by India nearly 4-0 actually. But having said that, I just feel that India has conditioned itself for all conditions, whether it be home or away. And the biggest advantage has been their bowling attack. They've got the bowlers for all conditions, and they have the experience in their batting lineup, and that's shown. People have forgotten in this pitch controversy about what India did in Australia just about a month ago. They created history there, and with a team that was so weak, which means India's second string is also ready. So mentally, India is well equipped to tackle conditions, tackle teams, and under Kohli and this team management, their aim is to be ruthless and be the best.
Yeah.
So they would want, and they've spoken positively. They've said right through that we're not going to play for a draw in the 4th test. We're not going to play safe. We're going to actually play to win. And that's why they're saying that we're playing on a spin pitch. So if it is actually a spin pitch, it is equally risky for them. Indian batsmen, outside of 1 or 2 batsmen who have played, they're not completely confident about playing. So England will have a chance.
Yeah, all right. The World Test Championship is the aim. Thank you, Nagra. All the best to you. You can go back to bed now.
Yeah, take care. Enjoy the day, guys.
All right, good. Editor at ESPN Quick Info, Nagra. So yeah, the first test of this series, perhaps the Indians designed it to, okay, let's have a fair contest between bat and ball. Let's not egg the pudding too much. And it turns out that Joe Root produced one of the great modern innings, and that was a difference between the team. A yawning gap Joe Root's innings helped to create. But after that, since then, Lance, it's been one-way traffic.
Yeah, the English think with a lot of help from the pitches that the Indians produced for those test matches. But to be fair, and Nagra just mentioned it, India proliferating the international scene with, talent galore. It's like they have a factory there producing outstanding cricketers, and the way they were able with what was almost a second string unit to beat Australia in Australia just tells you about the current strength and depth of this Indian team. Hard for them to lose this fourth test.
Yeah, and as we break, I'm reminded of the champion racehorse from Britain, Frank Hill. The last commentary when he won his 14th consecutive, the commentator said, all comers, all courses, all vanquished. And that's India. All right, so March 3 to 8, SportsMax live, fourth test, India versus England. Will it be 2-2 or 3-1?